one here, and then this next one, 3 cross members, all straight and exactly the same. So that's the bottom one, that's the middle one, and that's the top one, and they're all perfectly lined up. So I'm just going to clean the edges to work out where along here. Anyway, so while my clone is busy putting the frame together, I have got to make sure the bed is ready to accept these frames. I'm going to call them bows because it seems to be the technical term a lot of bodybuilders seem to use. Call them frames, call them bows. They're going to go one at the back, one at the front. The back one is going to be the more complicated one because of the hydraulic lift. But anyway, that was a bit of a teaser of me making a start on the frame. First thing I've done is prep the original Pantec bed, made sure it was completely rust free. I used that stuff that sort of reacts with rust and turns it black. I can't remember what they call it. Is it hematite or something? And then I put a good quality 2-pack primer. I think I actually put etch primer first. I can't remember. And then a decent 2-pack primer on the bed, as you can see me doing there. Because it was quite rough and it didn't need to have a fantastic finish but a good coverage, I basically used my airless electric spray gun, which is yeah, it throws it on there a lot more thickly because it's designed to spray fences and stuff, rather than use my proper paint spraying gun. Put that protective coating on. The bed itself was a little bit shorter than I anticipated it would be, basically because I wanted to put that hydraulic platform on the back. When it was first put on, the gap between the truck cab and the actual bed itself was a bit more than I really wanted it, so I decided to lengthen the whole thing by about 100 millimeters. I know that doesn't sound much, but 100 millimeters goes a long way, especially when you've got the back door coming into the back end of the Habitation box. So that's what I set about doing, and I fabricated an extension using galvanized SHS as usual, and I was really chuffed with the way I did it. It was just what I wanted, and for some stupid reason I inadvertently didn't think about measuring the length of the tray, or if I had, didn't notice the numbers. But when I measured the tray ready to start thinking about putting the bow on, I realized it was about 10-12 millimeters too short on one side. So I had the perfect opportunity to extend it at a slight angle and make it right, but I just assumed the bed was built square and correct. I know it doesn't sound much, 10 mil, but when it comes to putting in furniture and trying to put your bed in and all this sort of stuff on the inside, 10 mil on one side too short becomes a real problem. So I had to then somehow rejig that front end bit and extend it by another 10 mil. It's not ideal, but managed to do it, and I then progressed to paint and prep that part of the bed also. Only 10 mil out. That's all that is. Believe it or not, the bed was built 10 mil short from this side. I'm spending all that time on this and never bothered to check. It was a perfect opportunity to get it right, but I didn't. But anyway, it's on. I'm just going to clean it all up and do the bottom one tomorrow so I can get some steel. And you'll see now that I'm having to make some contraptions to lower the whole bed and make it easier to work on so that the Habitation box is lower down and a lot more manageable. So these are going to be the supports for the bed. I'm bringing it as low down as I can. When it comes to putting the 2 bows on, they're within reasonable height. Hiring a material lifter, technically capable of carrying 300 kilos, so it's way more than I need, because that rear bow is about 110 kilos. The front one's going to be about 35-40 kilos. And so I'm going to lower the whole bed onto these, and these are the supports because I've just got to lift it up a little bit. So I've made 4 supports. I'm just going to make sure they're all matching, because a lot of this I'm going to try and do with leveling rather than trying to use my 90-degree angles. I think leveling might be a bit more important. We'll see how we go. But even if don't just use leveling, the fact that the bed is going to be level would make everything else a lot easier, I think, personally, especially when it comes to putting the panels on. So this is important to get this right, because once the bows are on, I'm going to spray them up, let the paint harden, and then I'm going to start putting the panels on, which is really exciting. Lowering the whole bed is going to be interesting, because I've only got the tail lift to work with, and maybe the engine lift, if the engine lift is man enough to hold the back end. But we'll soon find out. Roughly cut. These are pretty level. I think they're pretty level as they are. So my measurement. That's pretty much it. This should be strong enough to hold the bed low down. It's so hot. I can't even kneel on that floor. Anyway, there's rain. If you can see that on each side. Idea being is that when the bed's on there, the wood won't split and they're not going anywhere. Another step closer to getting the bed on the floor. So what I'm attempting to do is to lower the whole bed down on these much lower trestles with some sleepers, so that the whole build can be a lot more accessible because it'll be lower down to the ground. So I'm basically replacing these A-frames for these, using the engine hoist and the ramp off the truck. So bit by bit I'm going to lower it down as best I can, and again it's like 39 degrees today. It's just typical, isn't it, when you're going to do stuff like this.